What's a piece of propaganda that to this day still has many people fooled? Diamonds are rare and valuable. And that lab-created gems aren't real. I bought a lab-made diamond online for my now wife, and when I brought it to the local shop to have it set in a ring, the jeweler called over all her colleagues to examine it. They discussed in hushed tones for a bit, then finally she came back with a look like a doctor about to tell a patient they have a terminal disease, and she said, "Dodo, you know this is a lab-grown diamond?" Clearly she was worried that had been duped. Meanwhile, I felt good knowing it was a beautiful, conflict-free rock for a fraction of the price of a real diamond. Did the jeweler's expression change to instant relief when you told her you knew it was a lab diamond? If I meet that special someone, I'd be hoping to get her a lab-made diamond for the same reasons you mention. There's still a diamond, cheaper, and no risk of being a blood diamond. It did. And they did a great job setting it, too. Definitely recommend. Dark roast coffee having more caffeine than light roast. People still don't believe me. The lighter the roast, the more caffeine. The greener the bean, the more caffeine. If it's clear and yellow, you've got juice there, fella. If it's tangy and brown, you're in cider town. Now, there are two exceptions. Oh, you can stay but I'm leaving. Slide whistle noises. Thud. And of course in Canada, the whole thing's flip-flopped. That carrots make you see better in the dark. The claim originated with the British to explain why they were shooting down so many German planes. They had actually invented radar. Edit, just because this is blowing up and it's tangentially related. Rabbits shouldn't really eat carrots much at all. They are too high in sugar and lack the nutrients they need. The whole rabbit carrot thing dates back to the origin of Bugs Bunny, who in an early cartoon mimicked a famous Clark Gable movie scene involving eating tons of carrots. Eventually the carrot became Bugs' trademark gimmick, and we've all since linked rabbits love carrots. But please, don't feel carrots to your rabbits, folks, they're bad for them. The British had invented radar, but the Germans knew they had. Radar installations were actually some of the first target bombed in the initial stages of the Battle of Britain. What the Germans didn't know was that the British had developed a radar set small enough to be carried in an aircraft. So when the British suddenly started finding and shooting down German aircraft in the middle of the night, the British needed a cover story. That's where the carrots make you see better at night story comes from. Fun fact, carrots were specifically chosen because it was one of the foodstuffs the British had in ample supply, so they wanted to promote their consumption. Another fun fact, carrots do improve your nighttime visions, but to make a perceivable difference you'd need to eat so many carrots it would actually turn you orange. That the woman who spilled hot coffee on herself was an irresponsible idiot who filed a frivolous lawsuit. Edit, to clarify, she was horribly burned and the lawsuit was absolutely not frivolous. The term carbon footprint? It was coined by British Petroleum, BP, to shift the responsibility of climate change onto the common people. Mashable.com. Same thing with plastic recycling and the numbers on plastics. It was a marketing ploy to convince people it was okay to buy plastic goods and not worry about plastic pollution, even though no one was really recycling anything, and even today a majority of plastics are not recycled. They shifted the responsibility to consumers and covered up the problem. Planet Money has a podcast on it, Wasteland, Sept. 11, 2020, explaining what happened and is still happening in plastics petroleum industry. That one Lemmings documentary saying they'll all follow herd mentality and will run off a cliff if one of them does it. The film crew actually chased them off the cliffs. Edit, as I was so very rudely informed, propaganda is only propaganda if it's political related, and isn't just any kind of misleading news or official information. Till, you bastards. They didn't just chase them off a cliff, they literally gathered a herd of them, drove them to a filming spot where lemmings aren't even found, and rigged up a contraption that forced them off and just used editing to make it look like they ran off. Edit, the reason they gathered a herd and drove them somewhere else is because the documentary they were doing was about Arctic wildlife. They paid for a bunch of lemmings to be taken to downtown Calgary, a Canadian town near the Canada-America border, very far away from the Arctic, for easy filming. They also took a polar bear cub and put it in a film studio in Calgary and faked it falling down an ice slope. Holy shit, what the duck. Guinness is high in iron. This was used to market beer to pregnant women. For real. 1 ounce of nuts has twice as much iron as a Guinness. Edit, cool. My biggest comment ever is about Guinness. In Ireland, Guinness was given to new mothers after they gave birth in the hospital. My Irish mother was told she could drink a glass of Guinness while pregnant probably explains why me and my brother are thick as shit lol. My great-grandmother was told by the doctor to drink Guinness and eat baked beans while pregnant for the iron. She gave birth to 6 boys. My granddad was the smallest at 13 pounds. My grandmother was quoted as saying, "Thank goodness I smoked during my pregnancies or else my babies would have been huge." My mom's siblings were all healthy weights, 8 pounds or so. My siblings and I were all 10 pounds or larger lol. That fat in food is bad for you. In Germany there's the saying Die Dosis macht das Gift, which means the dose makes the poison, it's the dose that makes the poison. It's true for so much, including virtually everything in food like salt, sugar and also fat. Edit. A lot of folks pointed out that the point where it is too much is relatively low for sugar and that sugar intake itself is not actually necessary for the human body. I'll probably stop looking at this thread now. It's a saying in English, too, and apparently it was originally a Latin saying, credited to Paracelsus. Exactly. The dose makes the poison is what modern industrial hygiene is based on. Food drives are massive propaganda. People believe that donating their unwanted food to a food bank helps people. 1. Yes. It's a really nice thing to do, and absolutely creates goodwill and makes people feel good about themselves. It's a lovely thing to have children do to exercise tune their empathy. 2. Many of the donations are unusable, expired, damaged, and the cost of sorting and transporting donations can actually exceed its value to a food bank. If you want to help hungry people in your community, donate your time or money to your local food bank. On the flip side, please use your local food bank before you're in crisis, before you're homeless, before the electric is turned off. We want you to use the services as the first line of defense if you're struggling, not the last. That you have a waiting period prior to reporting a missing person. There isn't one. If you have reason to believe they are missing, it's, unsurprisingly, worse to wait and you should report them missing ASAP. The first 24 hours are the most crucial in finding a missing person. The chance of finding the person alive decreases drastically every single hour that goes by. I was literally thinking about this a few days ago. And I was thinking about how waiting 48 hours to report someone missing is stupid if the first 48 are so critical to the success rate of finding someone alive. One needs to buy an engagement ring in order to ask another for their hand in marriage, and don't get me started on that 2-month salary nonsense. Pure marketing. De Beers and other diamond purveyors started marketing diamonds in the 1930s using the movie industry. They also gave or loaned large pieces to royal families and celebrities to wear in public. It's still done today. Bianca has an ad campaign where she wears a huge yellow diamond owned by Tiffany. The Atlantic.com engagement rings don't have to be diamonds. They can be any pretty stone, really. A piece of a meteorite might be cool too. And some people don't use engagement rings at all, coming from different cultures without that brainwashing. In Sweden, most wedding engagement and wedding rings are just engraved bands. Last engagement ring I bought was $40 at a Ren fair. She loved the ring, and about 3 too many guys. Edit, wow, this caught on. No, it was not 3 at the same time, it was over the course of a many-year relationship, and I said about because I know of 3. She actually loved the ring because she picked it out. As far as I'm aware, she has yet to get another ring of any kind. This was also several years ago. Have to admit the second half of that caught me by surprise. The McDonald's Hot Coffee Lady Smear Campaign. Coffee's is generally 130F. McDonald's was 200. McDonald's had been cited on 7 other occasions that they were keeping their coffee at dangerously hot temperatures. The woman had 4th-degree burns to her genitalia. She simply asked McDonald's to pay the $20,000 in medical bills. They refused and she sued for the $20,000. The $9 million was added by the jury. Background for why the coffee was so hot. McDonald's served free refills of coffee. The McDonald's franchise instructed employees to serve the coffee stupid hot so breakfast buyers would not have enough time to allow the coffee to cool off. Folks finishing their food would have to take the hot coffee away and not get a refill. This increased the turnover rate and reduced refills. The McDonald's knew this and cited multiple times not to engage in this practice as other people had gotten injured enjoying their hot lava in a paper cup. If it was so important to McDonald's to limit refills on coffee, the far simpler solution would be to say no refills on coffee. but then they wouldn't get the increase in sales from being able to advertise free refills.